Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you're watching it, whatever time of day you are watching this. I am being joined today by my client, Estela Torres. Estela Torres is a real estate agent in Omaha, Nebraska. She also is an investor and she is an investor coach. And I'm super excited to have her join me on this disruptive conversation. Estela, before I let you have the mic, I want to say this and I don't want to get teary eyed. Estela, for those of you that are watching who are in the coaching industry, Estela is one of my OG clients who rocked with me from the very beginning of my business when I wasn't charging the kind of money that I'm charging now. And for those of you that are scared to elevate your prices and then you're scared that you might lose clients because they're not going to come up with the new price. When Estela started working with me, Estela, it was a 90-day program and it was $3,000. And Estela finished working with me almost 4 years later, having paid more than six figures into working with me. And so I have it's a special connection, a special relationship that I have with her. It's been very intimate. She's one of the for those of you that are listening and want to know the traits of an amazing client, Estela embodies them all. Estela did what I asked her to do. Estela got mad, but came right back. Estela doesn't question anything. I'm like, Estela, I'm going to this conference. She's like, I'm there, coach. Just tell me. And very few, as a matter of fact, really one other one of my clients who traveled with me to conferences, but Estela is always looking to expand. And she understands the importance of proximity, even if the people in the room are not realtors. She understands that being with other powerful women who are making multiple six figures and $1 million in their respective businesses is enough to elevate her. So, Estela, thank you for being here. What else would you like to share about yourself that I haven't shared so far?
Well, it's an honor to be here, Linda. You changed my life. So this conversation we're about to have, I probably will get teary eyed.
I know.
It's been
So,
a journey. It feels like it doesn't feel like a long journey, but it has been a long journey because it's been a lifetime journey to get to where I'm at today. Right, the coaching was a life changing experience for me. That it's with me from when I took it to the day I die. It's a part of my family, part of my legacy. I get to do that for myself and for the people that are closest to me. So yeah, something that's been very transformational in my life.
let's talk about it because what I want people to know is that there is no winner, no champion of any, right? Winners, when we think of winners and champions, we think of athletes, right? We think of games, baseball, football, basketball, whatever, right? But whatever, golf. There hasn't been anyone who is at the top of their game who's ever said, um, I don't want to win. Like all winners want to win. However, what I have found in my journey as a Hispanic woman, as a woman of color, for those of you that get it twisted because I just dyed my hair, I am Puerto Rican. Okay. This is dye, right? So, women of color, we face different demons. We have different stories that are not made up, they're part of our upbringing, like calladita te ves más bonita, like, quiet, you look prettier, quiet. And how don't speak up, mija. You should be glad that you have a job. Like, don't you go over there and make a stink, okay? Like you should be glad. And even though we are breaking generational cycles way before my clients meet me, my clients that are Hispanic, like Estela, and Black women and women of color, they're already the first woman in their family making the kind of money that they are. They're the first woman in their family making their own, having their own business, making their own money. They're the first woman in their family who bought a house. They're the first woman in the family. They've been trailblazing, but somehow they don't believe that that's amazing.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. High achieving women that I meet, elite level women that I meet, still feeling like the 5-year-old little brown girl that got molested, still feeling like the 20-year-old brown girl that went to put her real estate license with a brokerage and he said, "You're too brown to make any money in this business." Like, you're 50. How are you still feeling that way? Because we are.
Yeah.
And this is not that the person needs therapy. The person just needs an identity shift. And for many years, I didn't realize that that's like my lane. I know I teach people how to make money and understand business and sales. I take it for granted, right? Because it comes easy to me. But the thing that I do best is remind the woman of who she is. And so I want to start there, Estela. When we met in 2019, I know that we've done a few interviews in the past, but let's do a condensed version. Let's go, because I want everyone to know this is not achieving the impossible, is not just for those people over there. It's for us. It's for women of color. It's for women. But
yeah,
it is. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you take the microphone, because achieving the impossible, why I call it achieving the impossible, is because you have to overcome who you have been in the past in order to achieve your goals. And that's hard.
yeah.
Most people think that's impossible, but it's not. That's why I like to call it achieving the impossible. So take it away. Take us from how we met, where you were, and those identity shifts that cost you to start selling and then start listing and then raise those prices, and all the life changes. Like, I'm looking at you, you look significantly thinner than the last time that I saw you, like all these things. So tell us.
Well, I read a quote this morning actually that put me to think, which is, we're not what we want. We are what we believe about ourselves, what we think about ourselves. And that's so true. When I met you, Linda, I met you through a very close friend who will always be my friend because she introduced me to you. I had a lot of bad experiences, I had tragic events in my life. I lost a daughter, my only child. I lost her in a car accident in 2011. And it was a spiral. It was a spiral down. It was a broken self-belief system, that created in my life, and so many other things that happened after that. I got divorced about a year and a half later. I was already separated, but we finalized the divorce, and then I went to work for the broker that said, "You're too brown to succeed," and that shit rang in my ears. Let me tell you, I believed that. I actually took that in, and it regurgitated in my mind every single day. When I would get up to go to the hustle, I would tell myself, keep it low. You're too brown to succeed. Like, get mad, go do something about it. But it's the truth. It was terrible. Today I'm actually very watchful of the words that come out of my mouth towards other people, because in reality, we don't know when we say something that maybe it's not even out of our heart, right? It's not something that we really mean, but we throw it out there and somebody might actually absorb that. And so I'm careful when I talk to a new agent or I talk to somebody new about, yes, the real estate industry is difficult, but there's ways for everything. So I remember some of the shifts that I had, some of the things that you told me. I remember when we first started coaching, I knew how to sell real estate, but I needed to understand how to take myself back to feeling like, at one given point in my life, when I started selling real estate, when I started doing mortgages and insurance, I thought I was, Napoleon Bonaparte, and I was going to just take over the whole, section of Omaha. And it was so exciting to get my first deals and so exciting to start my business. But then, I started seeing just what happens in business, right? Like, there's envy, and there's like, people look at you and they're like, oh, you're the little brown girl in the room. Why are you succeeding? Why are you doing more than we are? So let's squash you with words. Let's squash you with actions. And all of these things happened that shifted my identity. Living in the Midwest, being a brown Hispanic, even though I was married, I was really a single mom. And so being a single mom all along, it had a certain identity, that was created from back in my childhood, which, when you were a Hispanic single mom, you were pretty much, nothing, and you could do nothing because you were a failure. You had failed. They call it fracasar, which means to fail. And so that was the identity that I owned. I owned the identity of being a failure, too brown to succeed, coming from a crazy home, a lost daughter. I felt God had cursed me. Like it was just deep. My mind was just where it was at to where it's at now. It's like almost like you could say she was healed from stage 4 cancer. It's like that. Because I was dying. In that life that I had those years back, I was dying. I was wishing myself dead every day. I thought to myself, man, I have a bigger life insurance policy that could help my family than what I could do for my family. I remember the feelings of depression, all that stuff. And then I met you, Linda. And you said, well, I was a translator for Joel Osteen. We connected because I had been a translator for my church. And so you said, Stella, if God really wanted to curse you, you wouldn't be here. And I thought, she's right. How stupid of me to think that. And so I started looking at things differently, right? I started seeing Linda and seeing how what she had gone through, and we had some similarities and things that we had experienced in the past and who she was. And then she said something really simple to me. She said, can you make cookies? I was like, yeah, I can make cookies. She's like, well, if I gave you a recipe for the best cookies on the world and you took out 2 of those ingredients, would you still have the best recipe? And I was like, well, no. She said, that's what you're going to do in coaching. You're going to follow simple directions. I remember when she said that to me. I don't know if you remember when you said that to me, Linda, but I was like, that's simple, stupid. That's like, I could get a bowl and put 5 things in it. So I remember, Linda started giving me some uncomfortable exercises. Like, she said, you have to start networking, And so she was talking to me, not about business. The networking wasn't so that I could learn how to run a business. The networking was so I could learn how to present myself, so that I could have an elevator speech that I could throw in any room at anyone, no matter where, no matter when, that I would know how to dress, impress, embody, embrace, like take the whole Estela, who I am, a Hispanic female. I was larger than because, part of the transformation in my life has not just been business. Like a change of identity, it's not business. Business has been a part of my growth, right? You taught me how to believe in myself. You taught me how to you brainwashed me from all the brainwashing I had had. You told me some of the ways that Linda sometimes talked to me were like in my face, and I needed that because that's how I understand. Like some things I need harshly, some things I need softly, and she's great at knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. And so my identity shift took it was in everything. So 4 years ago when I met Linda, I threw away my food stamp card actually about 6 months ago because I don't care to have anything that belongs to the identity of who I was. I always will know where I came from. I always will know what I had to go through. Like nobody can take that from me, whether I carry a plastic card in my purse or not, right? But I remember my first time having to pay with food stamps. I had prior to my daughter passing away, I had made plenty of money without needing anybody to help me with anything. And I had investment properties and I had all that. But the identity shift that I had at losing her and all those other things that happened to me, I also got ran over by a car. I lost my ability to walk for 34 days. Like I really felt cursed. That was my identity, is I felt cursed. I felt like, Hispanic people think that there's like witchcraft, right? There's a lot of, what do you call that?
Brujeria.
Yeah. There's a lot of that kind of belief in our culture, right? So I thought maybe somebody had done something to me, or I just felt cursed. And the identity shift, so many of the things that happened to me, business blew up. Okay, I made money. Number 2 was that I retained my money. That was one of the things that I also learned because Linda would take me to all these events, right? So I would sit next to all these powerful women and I would listen to what they were talking about and listen to what they were saying. And, I remember a couple of ladies that were talking about expansion and retention. And they were just having a conversation amongst them, but I was all up in that conversation. And I thought when I left that room, I thought to myself, how are you going to keep what you're making? Sure, go out and buy yourself the Lexus, go out and buy yourself the Gucci purse. You deserve those things. Those are investments that you're doing in yourself. But what investments are you going to do that are going to grow your future, that are going to leave a legacy? So 4 years ago, food stamps. Estela, today, I own multiple properties in the United States in Omaha, Nebraska. I own multiple properties in Mexico. I started off doing midterm rentals. I just rented out my first house this week for $4,500. The average rent is $1,800 in that area. Like all these things that have shifted in my life. Like now I can see I can have 10 of those and live pretty and just, do what I want to do, which is go out there and talk to people about what I've gone through and how they can experience what I've gone through, and not the bad, not the shit part, the good part, the building up part. Everything changed. I started looking in the mirror and saying, girl, you're 200 and I don't know how many pounds I say. And I said, you can't do that to yourself. Because if you really love yourself, why are you taking metformin that's ruining your kidneys? I already had ulcers. That's making your stomach, people that are on metformin too long die of stomach cancer. A lot of them do. I don't need that. I want to see my great grandchildren because I did inherit a grandson. My grandson has been a big part of my life. And, my coaching, me being coached is like him being coached, because everything that I talk to him about elevates his life. So he's gone through the weight loss too. He actually did the weight loss before I did it. And I've lost a total of 34 pounds. I feel
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I feel incredible. I went from needing a knee replacement to getting some hyaluronic acid shots in my knees. I've learned how to, investing money in myself. I remember when it was hard to buy myself a $20 Payless purse. Like that was painful for me. I was like, I need this for groceries. I can't do this. I'm going to put it on a credit card, pay interest on it because I know I can't afford it. A $20 Payless purse was like shameful. Why would I buy that instead of me? Like that shit kind of makes me want to cry. I went from that to being able to tell my son, hey, I don't want you shopping in the clearance section anymore. Yes, it's good to know how to save. It's good to be frugal, but it's also good to know that you're worth what you love. That if there's something out there that you love or you need it, like coaching. I remember how hard it was for me to come up with the first money to pay Linda. I put it on a credit card. I lied. I said, I'm not lying. I'm talking about my future income.
Estela, let me interject,
Do it.
because as people are listening to this or watching this, I don't want them to miss, right? Because the conversation is so transformational that it could go over some people's head as just a regular conversation. But I want to break down some things that um they're not just unique to you. They're unique to every badass woman who forgot that she's a badass. So there were things that you already had when I met you.
Right.
You already had over 15 years in real estate. You
Mm-hmm.
were a real estate OG. You had already done $100,000 in real estate, but it had been some years back, right? Before your daughter's passing.
Right.
You overcame a cocaine addiction from your youth.
Yep. Sure
When
did.
when I met you, your home was already paid off.
Yes.
So there were all of these bad ass things like gangster. I
Yep.
have goosebumps right now because I get angry for the woman who is listening right now who doesn't remember that she is the baddest bitch.
Yeah.
Like, do you know it is the American dream to get a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, and hopefully pay it off? You own your home free and clear. When I met you, you had an investment property already.
Yes.
And even though all of that is true, you were on food stamps because you had stage 4 mindset cancer.
Right.
Like, right? You
Right.
were like superstitious, like,
Yeah.
oh, God is punishing me and I
Yeah.
don't I don't deserve these things.
Right.
And so I just wrote that, as you were talking, I was writing down the things that were jumping out. You you said, I want to be careful of the words I say to people because it is biblical. The way that God formed this earth was through speaking it into existence, and we have the same power that he
Man, we sure
that
do.
he had. It's within us. Our words create, and they create 100% of the time. It's not sometimes, oh, if you have enough faith. Yeah, if you have enough faith, you're going to create miracles, which some people call manifestation, quickly. But
Right.
your words go out. Your words go out and they create. Um, you said You were married, but you were a single mom. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Same. I was married. He was a police officer. He was working his regular job and all off duty jobs. And even though I was married, I was a single mom. My oldest son, Giovanni, pretty much was the dad. He was helping me with his siblings
Right.
because he was never home. So, how many badass women are married but are single moms? Like, we don't talk about that. That's shameful, or that's just like, hey, you don't talk about what goes on in your house. You just talk about that with your bestie. You said so many things that happened to you, like you were ran over by a car, and I remember you spent a
Yeah.
weekend with me in Houston,
Remember that. Yeah.
and you in that time that you were with me for those 48 hours, you said this phrase so many times that I couldn't just tolerate it anymore. You were constantly saying, well, I'm injured. Oh, Linda, hold up, girl. I can't keep up with you because, I'm injured.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm slow. I'm injured. And it was like this ownership of I'm injured. And I
Right.
literally took a video of you walking
Mm.
and I showed it to you. I was like, look at you. Like you out here looking like a 70-some-year-old person. Like, what? Because you're injured? Like, you own this. You are owning this identity. I understand that something happened to you
Right.
and you don't have to be injured.
Right. And
That's
you
when you
know, it was
came.
actually that weekend that I spent with you was very transformational for me because I started looking at all the health problems that I had, right? I had already been through coaching with you. We had already been through, how we're feeling, what our actions are around what we're feeling, what results we want to get. So I started breaking that down for myself, right? What the truth, what the facts were. The facts were that I was too fat, that I was eating too much, too many carbs, that I was not eating clean, that I was eating very dirty, that I was really harming myself. You don't want to say it this way, but eating that way truthfully is slow suicide because you already know you're diabetic. You already know that eating a donut could cost you an arm. You already know that if you spike your sugar and you can't bring it down and put it in control, it could create huge problems for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking at that and I started thinking, well, let me see. I can't walk right. I'm taking metformin. I'm taking losartan for high blood pressure. My body hurts all the time. I own this crazy shit called injury. Why am I doing this? Why am I not instead separating from that? What can I do to separate from that? I came back, see, a lot of times because we're single moms, because we're struggling, we're afraid to commit to things that cost money. And it's stupid for us to think that way. Because had I not said, okay, this body transformation is going to cost me about $400 a month, what is diabetes going to cost me without a leg? Come on. And I get ingrown toenails all the time, so that's why I bring up my legs. What is a stroke going to cost me, right? So I went ahead and I invested and I lost the 34 pounds. I started following orders. I'm eating super clean. My face looks a little puffy today because I ate too much salt yesterday, but my face looks so nice right now. I'm not wearing any like liquid foundation or anything. Like, I feel so good about myself. I'm walking like, you take a video of me today and post before and after. I was running after my puppies this weekend.
I love
I
it.
came out for their first walk. I got little puppies. Crazy.
Ah!
But
So
I'm so in love with them, right? And like, I'm running. So I said, what is the one thing I could solve? Like, you go to coaching. You're not just going to coaching for business. You're going to coaching for transfer. It's a life transformation. It's like saying, I'm going to get on a diet versus I'm going to change my lifestyle, right?
absolutely. Because changing your lifestyle happened because you change who you were
Yes.
being.
Yes.
It's easy for us because our culture has so many beliefs and superstitions and dumb shit
Right.
that we repeat. We didn't even question it. We just repeat it and we do these behaviors. And it's like, what am I doing?
I think the thing that happens with coaching is that we learn how to love ourselves. I think the first thing that happens when you invest in yourself is I was telling Estela, you're worth
You're
the
worth.
investment. You're worth it. You're worthy of it. You're worthy. If you have invested this much into so many other people, why won't you do it for yourself? And that change of who you are. Then one day I remember I went to bed and I had eaten like a pig. My stomach was hurting and I was uncomfortable as hell. And I told myself, is this self love? Is this self love? You just stuffed yourself. You're so uncomfortable. It would be better for you to go throw up something than to go to bed like this. This is self love, Stella. This is how you tell yourself, I love you, by eating what you love and stuffing yourself so much you're hurting. Check
Crazy, right?
your weight.
Crazy.
That was the last time I did that. Last time. But you know what? Had I not gone to coaching, I would have never invested in myself or seen myself or acknowledged and became aware that I was practicing a lot of self-hate things. I was in the wrong relationship. And I was miserable in the wrong relationship. And why?
Man, please don't talk about that because I just want to lean back like this and be like, girl,
Yeah, Linda probably told me the week she met me, that's the wrong relationship for you.
the moment. Let me tell you, um, it it was amazing. I raised my prices and I invited you to work with me for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 5-figure investment.
Mm-hmm.
And you you wanted to do it, but also you had never done that.
Right.
Right? And like you were like, what in the world's going on? And so this is the person that you've been in a relationship with for years before you met me. So you go to him to tell him, hey, Linda has invited me to continue working with her, and it's this 5-figure investment. And he was like, what? You're crazy. That's dumb. You better not do that. Why would you do that for? And you came to the
He said,
call.
everything Linda tells you, I have told you to.
Oh, okay. Everything Linda has tells you, I have told you to. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Um, um, and he said,
Yeah.
and he said, basically, don't do it. So you came to the call,
Uh-huh.
and I said, Estela, what's going on? Like, you're taking forever to make this decision, and so like we make powerful decisions. Linda, I really want to do it, but I was talking to my man then, and he said, blah, blah, and I was like this. Now, girl, this man has not achieved a damn thing in his life. He's trying to da, 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 da. He's not pulling his weight. You telling me this about him? He's never had a business. He's never invested in himself. Why are you taking advice from him?
Right.
And I was like, and any man that doesn't want to see you grow is not the right person for you. I don't care if he's Chinese, Russian, you've been with him 37 years, you raised all your children with him. A man that doesn't want to see you grow is not it.
Right.
And I told you, like, year after year after year after year, I would go to visit you to Omaha and he would intentionally be like, I don't want to meet Linda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to say something else. Because I was taking notes while you were talking. So you said when I get coaching from me, I coach my grandson. Who's your son? Like, how much weight did Angel lose?
44 pounds.
When you called me to tell me, Linda, this coaching, and I've always said that I know that when I work with a woman, I am shifting the generational code. The generational code, because when Angel decides to have children, he will repeat the things that he learned from you to
Right.
those children.
Mm-hmm.
So when I work with a woman, I work with generations that I'm impacting that I don't know, I'm never going to see.
Right.
Right. So that was it touched my heart so deeply. I made a reel about it. It's still on TikTok. I'm like, this is why coaching is amazing. You said during that time, you mentioned that you started telling him that we're not shopping on the sale rack anymore.
Right.
Right. You said to me one day that he came to you with some pants that were like $80. And I said, the reason that he's feeling bad about you spending $80 on his pants is because of how you conditioned him.
Right.
Because you've been broke for so long that you were like, we're going in the store. Don't be asking for anything.
Right.
I'm not paying $80 for no pants. What's wrong with you?
Right.
And so when you elevated your mindset and you expanded your bank account, because shifting who you have been and how you think impacted your business, he didn't realize this. So he was still going to the sale rack. He
Right.
was still picking out
Still going to the thrift shop. My mom loves to thrift shop. And Angel was still going, Mom, look, I found this good deal. I was like, don't pick up stuff from the thrift store anymore. Like,
right?
yeah.
So then you did that. You took you I remember you made one of your biggest commissions and you had money sitting in the bank that you had never seen grow like that. And you were like, I'm going to take everybody to Chicago. And like you took your mom, you took Angel, you guys went on a shopping spree.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It was. Angel still remembers that as one of his best trips. And then the following year, I took them to Vegas. I took my mom to her first Cirque du Soleil show. I've been able to do some, like some of the things that sometimes we think, oh, I wish I could, or they're like a dream. You like consider them, oh, if I did this, it's like a dream come true. Get coached and then just set goals. And then
Let me share.
I'm like, this is what I want to do. It just sounds so huge, right? And I'm just like, what coach? Like, I need a coach for this, Linda.
Let me share this. This just happened this weekend. I bought an expensive juicer. I had like a $40 juicer, which I don't use because it's so difficult to use because it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's been here forever, right? So I remember years ago when I was broke, I heard a woman say, I was trying to join a program that I didn't have the money to join. And one of the testimonials, the lady was saying, well, I needed $500 to get started and I didn't have the $500. So I returned my $500 juicer. And I remember thinking, oh, you have a $500 juicer to return? That's beautiful. I don't even have, that's the problem, that you were broke. You had a $500 juicer. And I remember like feeling so angry when I heard that testimonial. And over the weekend, I bought a $600 juicer. And I was like, oh, I have a $600 juicer.
Hey, is it easy to use?
Yes. It's like a big blender. And like you fit all of like everything in there at once. You don't have to peel it. I'll give you the link later. But anyway, oh my God. The generational thing. So you went to Chicago, then you took them to Vegas. You also up leveled your handbags. I was like, Estela, we need to get out of Coach. It's not that Coach is not great. It's that you want to sell and you want to list X amount of properties at this value. There's the next level you. Right. I remember you going to Miami, calling me and saying, Coach, I bought me a Gucci bag, and sent me a picture of it. I remember when you bought your Lexus, there were like every level. People say that new level, new devil, but it's new level, same devil.
Yeah.
You were like, I was like, you're not going to be making the deals that you want in the vehicle that you currently have. You need a different vehicle. And you were like, oh, I want to get this Lexus, whatever. And you sat on it for months. We talked about you getting a car for over a year. You were looking at your friend's BMW, all this other stuff. And then you were so stuck on the payment, the note on this.
Right.
Tell me how you overcame that.
Wait. I never even felt the payment comes out automatically. I don't even feel it.
How were you able to work through that?
So actually what happened was that, no disrespect to my friend if she hears this video, but one of my girlfriends was offering me her BMW. Now there is one interior color that I can't stand on vehicles. It's brown. I don't like brown interior. Like brown, really, out of all the colors, white, red, black, like, I don't know. I just don't like brown interiors.
Okay.
So then, I get in her car and the side mirror is broken, right? The side mirror on the outside of the vehicle is broken. So I'm like, I text her and she's like, oh yeah, somebody quoted me $1,700 for it. I drove it from her house to my house and I never drove it again. I didn't even like how it rode there. It was, it was an SUV BMW, to BMW lovers, great car, but it wasn't for me. So then I didn't like it. I was like, what kind of shit experience is this? Yeah, you're gonna come up $10,000 because that's how much equity it has, but you still have a $1,700 mirror. So now you're only really up $8,300. And I started doing the math, right? And so
as the good realtor that you are.
Yeah. I was like, I was in my head and I was like, what would Linda tell me? I'm like, Linda would tell you to go have an experience. Linda would tell you to go invest into something that's going to create conversations, that's going to create six figures down the road. And this fucking pathetic story is not going to do that shit. So, excuse my language. So I said, let me go into Lexus. I go to Lexus. And then I went to Mazda, right? And Mazda, the sales guy, started giving me all the reasons why people don't qualify for houses. You can buy it now and refinance it in 2 weeks. I wanted to slap him. For all of you that can't buy a house because you've been given advice like that, I wanted to slap that man. So I got up and told him to take his car and shove it. Took my ass to the Lexus dealer the next day, walked in, signed paperwork. They said, you can come back and pick up the car tomorrow. I was like, I don't get to drive it today? They were like, no. I was like, okay. So my boyfriend at the time, I tell him, hey, I'm gonna go pick up the Lexus tomorrow, and you know, that was probably one of those moments in life where I was like, I'm with the wrong person. He was like, why am I gonna go pick up your Lexus with you? I was like, never mind. So I asked one of my friends to do it with me, right? I didn't know that they were gonna put me in a showroom with a little red bow on the top and like give me a glass of wine or champagne.
An experience.
You know, and like make me feel like this is the smartest freaking thing I've done, right? It's like I drove out of there and I just felt like I bought the most, I bought the most beautiful experience is what I bought. My Lexus has been awesome. I love driving it. Everybody compliments me on it. It's really cute. You know, it's really a nice looking vehicle. I keep it super clean, and you know, people walk in, it always smells like something good. And so I love my vehicle, you know, and I was so afraid of the payment because, you know, we go through that. Like, you know, when you've been through a struggle, I was homeless. Like, I didn't tell you guys I was homeless. You know, when you come into face with hardcore addictions and you see people asking for money on the street, they're sick. Like, they can't help it. Like, that's their life right at the time. That's what they're thinking about. That's all day long is what they're thinking, how they're going to get high. So I was homeless, you know, and so I made decisions like, you know, all things work for good. I do have a strong faith. I know that God didn't curse me. He blesses me every single day and does miracles behind the, you know, background scenes that I don't get to see, that I'm thankful for them. Mm-hmm. And so I decided even then, you know, I was telling myself, you're going to own multiple houses so that you're never homeless again, right? Because we all have dreams and aspirations, but we don't know how to get there. And so, you know, I thought to myself, as I look at myself now, I just think to myself, everything that I wanted and everything that I desire and everything that I will always desire, I can attain. Because it's about knowing that you deserve it, knowing what you desire, and then if you don't know how to get it yourself, knowing who you can hire, a great coach like Linda, that'll draw the strategy for you and really just pull out of your brain everything that tells you you can't do it. Well, I want to own multiple properties, but I mean, I was an addict. I don't have a husband that knows how to fix things. Like I don't have the right people. I don't have money. I don't have credit. I don't have this. Like all this shit that people tell themselves that they don't have. What do you have? You have desire. You have will. You have some change in your pocket. Hire a coach. They'll teach you how to, like, I remember when I first hired you, right, Linda? It was scary to pay for the first quarter, but you made me all the money for the next hire.
I did?
Yeah. Like you told me what to do in that quarter. I went out and did it. When you threw out the 5 figures, I was like, damn. But then I was also like, but with that little bit of money, she taught you how to make that much money. So now if you go into it with that much money, she's probably going to teach you, you know, how to make like a lot more money, you know?
I remember you were like, Linda, I made 6 figures, but it was so long ago. So then like you made your first 6 figures. Then you made 6 figures in a quarter. Then you were like, Linda, I've never seen $50-something thousand just sitting in my bank account. Then you go put 50-something cash for your next investment property. Like then you discover that you are a millionaire. You have assets,
right?
That like you were like rolling through life like, what? No, you're a millionaire. You have these assets. What?
Right.
What?
That investment property that I had when I met you, remember I owned that with another investor. It was 50. Yeah. And I bought her out. I bought her out during our coaching because, you know, I sat there and I told myself, like, you know, why did you even invite her into the investment? And, you know, she's a good friend. One reason was so that she would, you know, so that she could grow her money. But the truth of it is because I was afraid to do it by myself. So being afraid to do it by myself cost me like $56,000. I could have hired a banging. I could have hired Linda for I don't know how long at this point, less than a year.
Yeah, all of that. Stella, I
And
mean, you went to Mexico.
yeah,
You became an international realtor. You did coaching, real estate coaching in Mexico. You went and got your citizenship in Mexico because of your parents. There's so much like this expansion, like this night and day, Estella.
yeah,
Literally last year, you closed your first over $1 million deal. You had your biggest commission check ever.
yeah,
Like it was like 30 something $1,000 for that.
yeah,
Insane growth.
yeah. Insane. It's like saying that all the things that I had ever put on my what is that, my bucket list, like it would be like if all the professional things on that list, all I crossed them all out. I wanted to own property internationally. I wanted to be a I want to have 4 or 5 citizenships. Why? I don't know. I just want them. I want to become a citizen of Spain. I want to become a citizen of somewhere else in Europe. Why not? If I want to go live there, I could. As a matter of fact, today I think that owning investment properties just in the United States is a small game. I think that we can own properties all over the world. Like, why not? There's property managers all over the world. You just have to have.
All over.
Yeah.
Estella, it is such an it is like, and people can just go back. You can go to my page and scroll all the way back to 2019. You're gonna see Estella's very first interviews there. Um, but it truly is all the joy. Like, even though we're the same age, I always feel like my clients are my daughters. It's like I saw them grow up. I saw them unleash everything. I want all of my clients to experience, these things. And when you go to your grave, you go there with no untapped potential,
Amen.
just
Amen.
completely empty.
Yeah.
You didn't take
I'm on
anything with you to the grave.
fumes. I'm always driving my car on fumes. Well, it's a hybrid, so I'm always
Let's
like,
not talk about that.
the electrical will kick in. But every time I do that, I think it's because it's always a reminder for me that that's how I want to go to the grave, on fumes.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have anything left in me. Nothing. Everything. Like, I could have, sometimes when I look at my life and I'm like, I could have been on disability. Like, the whole world would have understood if I would have just gone into a deep depression for the rest of my life. She lost her only child. She can't walk right. She got run over by a car. Like, how much shit can happen to a person? A lot, there's people that have gone through a lot more than I have. Because when I went through different circles for therapies and, different circles, I met people that lost all their family in a car accident. So I was like, shut up, stop complaining. Worst
Yeah.
things happen to people. We just like want to drown in our own story, right? But no, it's not necessary. And like now when I look back and I think to myself, my confidence level is just like I have confidence oozing through my freaking pores now. Like, and it's not cocky because I'm very humble about what I've done. I still do things and I still don't see them as a big deal. I just started going to therapy last week because I want to see my things like a big deal. I told my therapist my first sentence was, I have a great life, but I don't feel like I'm enjoying it. And so she reminded me of that when we finished off. She said, your first sentence was, I have a great life. I have a great life. My parents are alive. My dad just survived a couple of, almost gone. I have my grandson who's like a huge aspiration and inspiration in my life. He's the reason why I want to leave a legacy. The unfairness in his life, him losing his mom, my daughter, when he was 2.5 years old. My feeling inside of myself is everything that has been done wrong to him and has been unfair for him. I want to make it fair. Whether I can make it fair with a couple of houses. Like, I don't think of leaving my grandson. Like, I hear people say, oh, it's my legacy. And they got 4 kids with 1 house. I'm like, no, that's not a legacy. That's a problem. You're going to die and your 4 kids are going to have to split that shit in 4. Like, I want to, the Bible says that a righteous man will have houses for his children and his children's children. I already got houses for my child. Well, she's gone. But my child's child already has houses and his children already have houses.
Come on.
And so I believe that that's what I'm going to leave behind. And when I think of like the legacy that I want to leave, I don't see like, 3-bedroom split entries. I see like luxury homes that Angel would be able to choose from with part of the world he wants to explore at that time, you know. And so I tell him, you got to get your mind right, you got to have your spirit right, because I'm not going to leave you a problem. I will not leave money for you to go screw up your life and like not do anything well. So you've got to learn that work ethic with me. I take him to work with me. He pushes furniture with me. He hears the deals. I remember one time, Linda, you were coaching me and you were like, you could do 12 million this year. And he said, Mom, you did 1 million in a week. You got 52 million in you. I was like, no vacation, Angel. He's like, all right, 44.
I love that.
You know, and so,
Estela, I love that. I
yeah.
love that because people don't really realize, people think that these are just cool marketing phrases, like coaching shifts the generational code for every family. It does. It's not just cool marketing messaging. It's real.
Mhm.
It's real. And I love to hear that with you and Angel and just anybody who crosses paths with you.
Yeah.
What would you say to a woman who, whether she's done coaching before or the one that's never done coaching before, what would you say to them? Like, girl.
Listen, I remember one time really looking at my circle, right? Where I was at physically, spiritually, relationship wise, the whole circle. My whole circle was not a circle. It was like some crazy looking shape. The relationships were off. You know, my spirituality was not, you know, now I go to church all the time. I desire, like, I wake up and I'm grateful. Like, I can't help but touching the ground and knowing I got up. Like, it was a day I couldn't. I'm grateful. Like, I have so much gratitude for, like, like looking to the last 4 years to where I'm at now, like, just looking at that, I'm just so grateful. You know, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but my spirituality, my physical body, you know, I dropped 34 pounds. I go walking every day. I stretch every day. I'm doing 3 push-ups a day. And to everybody, that might be funny, right? Like with 3 push-ups. Well, when I first got started, I'd been in so many car accidents. My shoulders were so jacked up. I couldn't even hold myself up in a plank for 10 seconds. So now I do planks 3 times for a whole minute, and then I pump out 3 push-ups. You know, so it's like I'm
So
doing.
Estela, what would you say to someone?
Do it. Like look at your whole circle. Look at your whole circle, okay? Don't let money be your driving force. Don't let fear be your driving force. Like if you are a person that has any type of belief in the word, you have to understand and go back to knowing that you have been given a brain that's very powerful. You can set that brain up every day to think negatively or to think positively. And we need the right guidance. It's not your friends, like my boyfriend, your parents, and all the people that surround you, unless they have amazing lives and they're creating what you want to create and they're living the life that you're like, man, I want to live that life. They have, they can't guide you. They can't because they can't guide themselves. That would be like the blind leading the blind. You're all going to fall in a hole. We need to have clarity. We need to be uncomfortable. We need to cry. We need to, you know, we need a person in our lives, like you were that person in my life, Linda, that allowed me to look in the mirror and be honest with myself about what was going on. Be honest with myself, be able to really reflect on my problems. And a coach, a good coach, and I wouldn't say there's a lot of them out there because I've been in a lot of circles with coaches. Linda's a fabulous coach. Linda will take that mindset that's broken, and that's what we need. And it never stops, okay? You think, oh, okay, I'm gonna get coached. No, it never stops. Like I will never live without a coach and a therapist anymore. Like I know that those are two things that are gonna make my life better. And because my life is better, the whole world is better. Because it affects everybody around me. And think about that. How your personal life is affecting how many people are looking at you. You think nobody's looking at you, but your niece is looking at you. You know, your next door neighbor's daughter is looking at you. Your next door neighbor's looking at you. People are always looking. You're just not looking. And then when you look in the mirror and you're like, you know what? Ask yourself why you think you're not worthy of it. You're not making the decision because I don't have enough money. Money's everywhere. And I tell you that from coming from food stamps. Once I decided I wanted to make money, I made it. And if this month I want to make $40,000, I'll go make them. And if next month I want to make $40,000 or $100,000, I'll go make them. It just depends on what I want to do, who I want to work with, how I want to work it. You know, I could go out and flip a property and be good on $40,000 in a month. I don't even have to deal with a client. Like, I know how to do all sorts of stuff. So really, the money's always there. It's the self belief. You're worth
Mhm.
when you're looking at yourself to making a life decision. Just always know that you're worthy. We're occupying space in this world because we're worthy. If not, we wouldn't be here.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being here, Estela. I want to close with this. Estela said a whole bunch of things in this when I asked her, what would you tell someone? If you work with me, you're going to work, every single area of your life is going to improve. Your body, your business, balance, your being. But it all starts with getting real. Like she said, I'm going to put a mirror up to you, not because I want to hurt your feelings, but because I know that the Bible says the truth will set you free.
Mhm.
I like to add that, but first it'll piss you off.
Yeah.
But really, the truth is, I don't think it's truth that sets people free per se in today's world, even though that's biblical. It is the facts. Coming to terms with the facts, because people see the truth every day. They see themselves in the mirror. They don't like the way they look. They don't like their health. They don't like their relationship. People live with truth every day, and it's not changing their life. It's not setting them free. But coming face to face with the facts,
Yeah.
you cannot come face to face with that. And then, I mean, you can go into denial, but you won't do it working with a coach. So if you want to change every aspect of your life, you're going to have to stop lying, stop being in denial,
Mm-hmm.
get real with the shit that is not working in your life, that all of it you have created. All of it. So I call these conversations um disruptive conversations. We didn't even go into why it was disruptive, but it was disruptive. It is our goal that through this time that you spent with Estela and I, that we disrupted something in your being. Something broke off with the way that you think. And even if it's not me, you reach out to someone that you could trust, that's going to hold your hand and keep you accountable and push you to be the best version of yourself. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. You know where to reach me. Have a great time the rest of the day.